Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, welcome, thank you so much for joining me once again. In today's video it is day 2 of the week of colour, a little collab challenge thing that I'm hosting here on YouTube as well as on my Instagram. I will pop up the whole week of prompts to my side here if you want to get involved with any of the days this week. We're having a lot of fun, we're playing with a lot of colour. You joined me on day 2, so there's only one video to catch up on from yesterday. I will leave my playlist linked up above with everybody's video that is joining in, but you don't have to be a creator to join in with the fun. You can just do this in your everyday life. You can post about it on your Instagram if you want to. You can do whatever you like, but we are spreading a little bit of joy, a little bit of colour, a little bit of whimsy. And in today's video, we are incorporating our favourite special shades. So whatever your collection may look like, you will have a shade that is an eyeshadow that is something just a little bit special, something that is perhaps glittery in a slightly different way, or just a tone that you really enjoy. So that is what we are playing with today. And my shade, I mean, I've got a few. It was difficult to narrow it down, but narrow it down I did. I have picked one. I knew I wanted to use one of my Pastel Roses Multichromes because these are incredible and I don't feel like I use these nearly enough on my channel, so I did want to use one of these. I just went through them all and I picked one, and the shade that I picked I have swatched on the back of my hand here. So this is the Pastel Roses Daylily. Now I've got a story about Daylily. This is a shade that I wouldn't say I wasn't interested in, because basically I'm interested in all of the shades from the Pastel Roses, but it's definitely a shade where I was like, I can take it or leave it. It's pretty, it's very pretty, it looks beautiful on the website of course, but it wasn't a shade that I was necessarily interested in. Didn't buy it in my first Pastel Roses order, didn't buy it in my second. It took me a while to order this shade, and then when it came, it's just incredible. It's so beautiful. And the only reason I bought Daylily is because Daylily is the name of the dress, the wedding dress that I wore on my wedding day. It was the Willoughby Daylily something or other. It had another name after that, I can't remember, but it was Daylily. I was like, it's a sign, I need that eyeshadow, and it's incredible. It's like a sugary pink pastel lilac shade, and then when it catches the light it goes a bit sort of golden, but then in some lights it goes really lilac, and then in some lights it goes really like bright lime green. It's incredible. So like I say, I could have picked so many different, even just from my Pastel Roses collection, I could have picked so many different shades, but that's the one that I went for because it's just a little bit extra special. And then last week I was reviewing the Pastel Garden palette from Bella Beauty Bar, the new like reformulation, and one of the shades in here is called Daylily, this like pastel-y lemony yellow right up here, the first shade. So I was like, that will go with the vibe. So we're basically building our whole look around these two Daylily shades, and I'm just going to be doing my eyes today because I've already been filming for 4 minutes and I haven't done anything yet. So let's zoom on in and we can create a beautiful Daylily special shade inspired look. And I'm very excited about this one. I do love this shade and I don't use it anywhere near as much as I should, considering how beautiful it is. But let's zoom on in and we can start today's look. So I think I really want to lean into like the pink sort of tone that this goes, and also like the bright golden yellow. I might add a little bit of like a pop of sort of a lime green, but I want to lean more into the pink and the yellow sort of combination today. So I'm going to start with a big fluffy brush into the Pastel Garden palette, and let's start with this shade here, which is called Bleeding Heart, and I've already got my Beauty Bay eyeshadow primer on, let me just tap out, where's my brush gone? Let me just tap out the creases in that, because I did that a minute or two ago and my eyelids have moved. So tap out the creases in that. I would love to hear, actually, whilst I blend this first pink shade down, I would love to hear what you would consider your favourite special shade. If you are taking part in this Week of Colour collaborative effort that we have got going on here, or not, I want to hear down below, what is your favourite sort of special shade? Whether that be an actual like special shade where it's like a multichrome, duochrome, something like that, or if it's just a shade that is special to you. I would love to hear, because obviously this one is both. For me, it definitely is a duochrome, multichrome special shade, but also the name of it is special to me. So I would love to hear what shade you would consider your most special shade, whatever that means to you. So that is just that one shade sort of halfway out. Then I'm going to take a much smaller brush and I'm going to go into the Arch of Colour palette. I'm going to stick with the pinks, I think, in the Arch of Colour. Let's firstly go in with Prism Bloom, this one, and then I might go into a little bit of this more like purple, just to deepen it up a little bit. Grape Gradient might add a little bit of that, but let's start with Prism Bloom on a small brush, and I'm going to keep that a little bit further in the crease. I will put down a different primer for the Daylily shade for this shade, because this looks incredible over a very, very tacky primer. So I want to lay down a different primer specifically for that shade so that it really grabs and like it turns into a foil, because that, it just really helps it. Really lays down very, very nicely over more of a tacky primer. So just adding in a little bit of that Prism Bloom from the Arch of Colour, like so. Fluffy brush back in with that first shade over the top. Then let's just use the same brush, and I will go in with that Grape Gradient. I know it's purple, but I feel like it will fit the vibe quite nicely. And let's keep that on the lid. I do think I eventually want the blush to sort of, spoiled it. I want the pinks to sort of fade into the blush a little bit. So when I've done the rest of my face, I will come back and like really blow out all of these pinks. But let's just focus on the lid first. So I think I'm happy with how those three shades are looking. I do sort of keep going back and checking that those tones are right. So now let's take more of a dense brush, and I'm gonna just go straight into that Daylily shade from the Pastel Garden palette, and let's just pack that on further in on the crease. That's definitely the vibe. That is the vibe. I very, very much enjoy that. I got too much on my brush and there is fallout under my eye now, but that's fine. I'm doing my eyes first so that we can just go a little bit crazy, so that we can blend this out. So that is just the Daylily shade all blended out. I'm going to go back in with a little bit of the Bleeding Heart, which was that first pink from the Pastel Garden palette, just to make sure that that's nicely blended sort of through the crease. Then I think, like I say, I am like going backwards and forwards in between like looking at the colours. I think I want something a little bit of like a brighter yellow as like a pop, sort of a little bit further into the crease. So I'm going to take a sort of dense flat brush, and I'm going to go into, what's my plan? I'm going to go into First Light in the Arch of Colour, which is just ever so slightly more of a bright lemony yellow. Not the brightest lemony yellow, because I don't want this to go, I want this to stay very pastel, because obviously that is the vibe for the Pastel Roses shade. But I do want just a little bit more of a brighter yellow right in the crease. So just pressing that right in there. And then I think just a tiny little bit more blending. I think just a tiny little bit more blending of everything. And then I think we'll be on to the Pastel Roses shade. But I feel like I can see the vision, because I want all of this pink to like fluff out into the blush. And maybe like more of a pink highlight as well. I haven't thought that far ahead, but I think I could use that as a highlight. No, that's too far. that would be too much for me. I'm not cool enough for that, but let's just buff a little bit more Bleeding Heart, that first pastel pink, right over there. A little bit more First Light. I am like dipping into both of these Bella Beauty Bar palettes because I feel like that gives me a really, really great amount of, I'm like holding on to all of my brushes all at once. It gives me all of the options having both of these palettes for the vision that I have for today. So I'm just adding a tiny, tiny little bit more of the Daylily shade from the Pastel Garden palette, and I think I'm good for matte shades. So I'm going to just use a little bit of the Troublemaker Lot Alive, because this is a really grippy, tacky, clear eyeshadow primer. So I'm just going to pop this sort of on this middle section of the lid here, tap it out, and then we can get into the delicious shade. Oh, I'm so excited. So that is the tacky eyeshadow primer. Very, very thin layer. Really, really sort of laid down very, very thin. And then I did just go back over with the same brushes just to soften down the very, very edges of that delicious tacky primer. And if I just hold this up real close, look at that shade. It's so bright and reflective. It's just delicious, and it's gonna go with these tones so perfectly. So I'm just gonna use my finger, because these special shades generally do lay down best when you properly like press them in and lay them down with your finger. I get it, nails sometimes can be long, but they do often apply best really like pressing them on to a very tacky base. So all across here where it's still skin tone, that is tacky, tacky, tacky primer. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap that all over that centre of the eyelid. And I'm also tapping this over basically all of those matte shades as well, so it blends in and like disperses over all of those colours. Look how incredible that is. I'll get my my phone torch up in a minute so that you can see it really, really close up. But these shades from the Pastel Roses are exceptional. If you haven't tried any of these little single eyeshadows from the Pastel Roses, I cannot recommend them highly enough. They're perfection. Clearly, because I've got 2 palettes worth of them now. They're just so beautiful. There we go. Look at that shade. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. I'm just going to go back in with that small brush into a bit more Prism Bloom from the Archer colour and just tap over the edges. These special shades are so good because they just, like here the shade looks more yellow, but here it looks a little bit more pink, like it really adapts to whatever is going on around them. So they're just very they're very easy to use, but they also just create a look. Like obviously I know I've got a lot of mattes and things on right now, but the shades, like, they just transform over your lid. So I will just go in with a little bit more First Light, that brighter yellow, just through here. Again, just to blend it out a little bit and really soften down those edges. But I think that is me done for the lid. Obviously because I use my finger and I've got fat fingers, all of the shimmer shade has gone sort of under my eye as well. So I'm gonna go clean this up. I'm gonna go do the rest of my face. I'm thinking I want some sort of delicious lime green on the inner corner to really bring out where this goes quite lime. I really want to sort of emphasise that, and I feel like a nice lime green in a corner never hurt anyone. So I will go ahead and do the rest of my face, and then we can finish up together with a lime green in a corner, because who's mad at that? Okay, so I added a lot of blush. This was the vision all along. So I packed on quite a bit of the MUA blushed matte powder blush in Marshmallow because I felt like that tied in nicely with the pinks, and I didn't drag it over the eyelid, but I like tapped it over the pinks that are already out here to like tie it in. Then I put highlight over the top, but I'm putting more blush on now. But I feel like it's all sort of melting in the eyeshadow, like the pink eyeshadow tones are melting into the blush. I love it. I also feel like, I don't know what I've done differently. I feel like I've done my brows differently or something. I feel like I look like I've had a facelift. I promise you I have not. I promise you I have not. God, that would absolutely terrify me, but I feel like something is like, you know, it's like I'm in a wind tunnel or something. Anyway, maybe it's the eyeshadow. It's not. I don't know what I'm doing. But let's go ahead and do something nice and smoky under the eye. And I definitely feel like this look is too subtle. I definitely feel like I need a bright green pastel pop of something on the inner corner. So I'm going to take that same small brush that I was using for Grape Gradient on this outer corner here. I'm going to just go with a little bit more Grape Gradient shade actually, and tap that over the outer corner. I do want to go in with some more of those pinks just to really intensify that blend in between the eyeshadow and the blush. So I feel like this is like a slightly tamed down version of like a Zara Larsson makeup look, and I simply adore that girl's makeup looks. So this is my interpretation of it, but also just dial this down a tiny little notch more and 100% I would wear this for work. It's the end of the day, I'm not going anywhere, but I would absolutely wear these colours. I will probably recreate something quite similar to this when I go off to work tomorrow morning, because I don't know if I've ever worn yellow and purple together, but I love how this has all turned out. And I don't even really like pink on me. I feel like the bright yellow is just doing something for me. I am very, very much enjoying this look. So I'm just smoking this purple shade, which was Grape Gradient, just smoking that out along the lower lash line. Then let's take fluffy brush into, let's go Prism Bloom in the Arch of Colour, which was that shade that we put on there, and I will dust that over the edge, also a little bit further in, and then just make sure that all of this is really nicely blended into the blush further out here. I will go back in and fix the brows in a second. So I'm happy with those pinks. I just want a little bit more of that lightest Daylily matte shade from the Pastel Garden, just tapped over the inner part, like basically the side of my nose, not even my eye, like right into like the eye socket, sort of right in here, just adding more of that, then just a little bit of blending. I love this. I love sparkly things. So what do I want to do now? I need to fix my brows. Let me just draw my brows back in out here where I was blending. And I do feel like I want somewhere, I want a bit of green. So let me just fix my brows first. I can't concentrate. There we go, that's better. I feel like I just needed that little bit of definition. So I'm gonna go in with a really small, like really tiny little pencil brush, and I'm thinking Lime Apex, maybe a little bit of Electric Meadow, maybe a tiny little bit of this, but mainly this bright, like the most pastel sort of lime green shade. I feel like that will really bring out the lime that this is reflecting. So teeny tiny little pencil brush, and I'm not going to put any more eyeshadow primer down. I'm just going to do a few light layers of this right on the inner corner and the lower lash line just in here. Obviously I've got that Daylily shade from the Pastel Garden palette, but feeling a little hint of green will be very pretty. So let's just do a few light little layers of that. Yes, I like that. I might add a tiny little bit of Electric Meadow just to green it up a little bit, but not too much of the slightly darker green, because obviously it's right in the inner corner and I want to keep this really nice and bright. Don't want to take anything away from the delicious multichrome that's across the lid. I want everything to enhance it, and very much enjoying all of these shades. So let's just mix in a tiny bit of Electric Meadow just to green it up a little bit more. I feel like adding in that little bit of Electric Meadow, I basically like dipped into both of those to get sort of an even mix on my brush of both of those. I love it. I love it. I'm just gonna blend over the edge with that slightly bigger brush that I was using for the lightest matte yellow, all up in here. Yeah. I think I'm done. I think I'm done. So, do I want a wing? Would a wing ruin this? Or would it add to it? I think it would add to it. So I'm gonna go do a black wing. Yeah, just a little one. Just a little bit of definition. That's what I think I need. Mascara. And then we're done for day number 2 for the week of colour. I love it. I love it. There we go. So just a little black wing. Am I actually capable? I don't think I am. I don't think I'm actually like physically capable of doing a small wing. But I do feel like that has finished it off nicely. Like the contrast between the black wing and the beautiful, incredible pastel shades and the shimmer I love. And yeah, there's definitely something going on with my face today. I feel like I'm in a wind tunnel or something. Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that pastel yellow. But I do love pastel. I don't know what it is. Something is making my face look, you know, like as if I've got my hair tied up really tight or something and I don't. But that is the finished look for day number 2, the week of colour, with my favourite special shade, the shade Daylily from the Pastel Roses. And this is the look that I created. I love it, in case you can't tell. There we go. The hair to finish the look. I would absolutely love to hear what you think. I would absolutely love to hear what your favourite special shade is. And if there's any special sort of meaning behind it like there is for mine. But that is my finished look for day number 2 of the week of colour. I'm so excited for this whole week. Honestly, I know we're only 2 days in. I know that we're only 2 days in, but I'm already so excited to see. I'm so excited to see everybody else's looks that they're going to come up with for the whole week, of course. But I feel like this one in particular, because it has, like, this has such a strong sentimental meaning for me as well. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what everybody else comes up with, what looks they use, what colours they use. I'm so excited. If you want to follow along, I will leave my playlist where I'm adding everybody's videos as I see them. If you are creating videos, don't forget to tag me so that I can add them into the playlist so that everybody else can find them as well. Or if you're just posting on your Instagram stories, you're just posting a little picture to your Instagram, I also want to see it. So don't forget to tag me. It's Millie Davison, the same as it is absolutely everywhere. Don't forget to tag me, because this week is going to be a lot of fun. Like I say, we're only 2 days in, but I'm already like, I'm just loving it. I'm having so much fun. Colourful makeup is so much fun. But that is everything. That is it for day 2 of the week of colour. And until next time, until tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.